developer since there were no chips on Circuits V1. Been on Circuits V2 since the beginning. I'm really happy you're coming to this event. Thank you for attending. Thank you for anybody who's ever spawned a chip. We've got an exciting event in store for you. I hope you enjoy it.
I'll go next, I guess. I'm Nameless. I make circuits. Thanks to him for making the things that I use. Oh, that was not the correct button.
Bye, Nameless.
And yeah, I just try and make cool stuff.
Let's see if that works now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Name is my name. I make circuits with this loser, using the system that he made.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna switch the other.
It's nice to be here.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ventbot. I joined Rec Room in October of 2020 and never thought that it would expand to what it is today, or what I'm doing with it today. Like, my involvement, I love it, love the community, love everybody, and Cv2 is my passion, so thanks to Tyleo and his team. So yeah.
Alright, that leaves me. My name is Jerry. I also make Cv2. I make some really cool games, such as Uno. I made that. Yeah, all thanks to really Tyleo, and back to all Tyleo, because him and his team is spot on with what they do.
All right. So our host here, Potatoes, is having technical difficulties. We're gonna continue on while he gets them resolved. And
I'm gonna try.
if he gets them resolved,
I'm gonna try and reloading my game. I'll be right back.
All right. Once he gets them resolved, he's gonna take over. But I'll host in the meantime. I'll keep the ball rolling on this event. So we're gonna start by talking about upcoming Circuits V2 content. We've got a lot of exciting stuff in store, especially for you artists out there. We've just recently completed Sampler V2. It will be coming out in 2 weeks, barring any issues. So look for it on Tuesday, roughly Tuesday the 5th, maybe Wednesday the 6th, right around that area. In the worst case, we might slip a week, but you should see Sampler coming shortly. There's a lot of exciting features with the Sampler, just like the first one. In Circuits V1, you can record a clip. You can now trim a clip at the ends, so you could take content off if it's messy. You could clear a clip, choose an audio channel, toggle whether a clip interrupts another clip, choose between 2D audio, 3D audio, set the speed, the volume, play, pause, stop. There's a lot of exciting stuff in there. I'm going to share some stuff now from a design doc we have on Sampler. For anybody familiar with the Circuits V2 Discord, all of these design docs are shared in the Discord. I'm going to post another link right now if anybody wants to look it up. So feel free to find them online, maybe ask around in Cv2 Discord if you can't find it. But I just posted it for anybody who wants to follow along.
Also, it's idea. You need to get Potatoes in again.
Yeah.
Get Potatoes back in? Yeah. Give us 1 moment. We're going to try to get our actual host back in, Potatoes. Let's just try it again. And then we will continue on with the sampler. All right, Potatoes should be loading. Okay, so for the Sampler V2, we tried to break it up into smaller pieces. The Sampler V1 combines playing the audio with the device it's actually stored in. It's kind of like an old, I don't know if anybody will remember these, but old MP3 players that had songs built in. You weren't able to change them. The new sampler comes with sample chips. So you could have several of these sample chips in a room. You could record different audio to the sample chips. And then with a single sampler, or multiple samplers, if you would like, you could take those sample chips and you could play them. This is more like CDs, or you can kind of think of it like Spotify, clicking songs, choosing which one you want to play. Yeah, somebody in the audience said, like a cassette. That is a great way to think about it, and that's what we were hoping to achieve. You could also put these samples in inventions, share them with each other. They are cheaper than the Circuits V1 sampler because we could separate the things apart. You don't have to pay the full cost of the full sampler each time. You could have the chips have their own cost, and then you could have a sampler have a cost just for it. There's some new neat features with this sampler. For example, we have audio waveform UI. So in the config menu for the sample chips, you could take a look at the waveform of your audio, identify different places in it. Maybe you want to clip some messiness out at the beginning or end. But there's more interesting configuration you could do now that you could see that waveform. We also plan to get the player, which is separate from the sample chips, the player to work with all of our existing SFX. So SFX will just feel like a different sort of sample. There'll be more cassettes like we described them as earlier. The second thing I want to talk about is a new Animator V2. Now, Animator is a lot farther off. We plan to have this done, we think we'll be close at the end of the next 3 months. Give me a moment and I'll give you a date. So it's March right now. Probably around, I want to say mid-July is when we're roughly hoping to have Animator V2 out. And we are hoping to build Animator V2 in a similar way to how we built Sampler V2. So we'd like to separate out the concept of an animation from the thing that actually plays it. This should allow you to have more animations in a single room, and you should be able to hook those up to multiple different animators. You'll possibly get some reuse along with that. You'll possibly be able to put them into inventions. The design for Animator V2 is not as far along, so we don't have a public design doc yet, but look for one in the future. Potatoes looks like he's back, and I believe he's broadcasting. Is that correct, Potatoes?
Yep, we're up and running now. We're all ready.
Excellent. Do you want to take over?
Sure, we'll take over here. And let me pull up our talking points real quick.
I was just describing the animator. I don't know if you want to start by introducing yourself. Because your broadcast was broken, the audience might not know who you are yet.
Hi, I'm Potatoes. I'm a small creator, but I decided, you know what, why not? Let's get a ton of high funny famous people in here to talk about some Cv2. I started Cv2, I think it was probably 2 months-ish after it was released to us, and I've been working with it ever since.
Awesome. Want to go through your talking points?
Yeah, let me pull those up real quick. I lost them. Where did they go? Come here. There we go. So we'll start off here. We'll talk about, so Cv2 has really kind of changed the way that art is done in Rec Room, with just the ways that you can move stuff around, you can control how your games are played, and then there's also things like printers and other kind of setups that run that you can bring stuff in on. Like I know Pancake is done, where you could bring object files into Rec Room. There's the printers and all of that. And all those have kind of really changed how Cv2 really changed how all of that's done. Because before you really honestly couldn't do that. That was a thing that you couldn't do. And now you can do all of that. I'm not sure if any of you want to comment on that.
Yeah, we're quite proud of all the stuff that we've been able to add. But we're quite proud of all the stuff. yesterday. There's a lot of cool stuff we could do with that. That might come with more colors or maybe the ability to copy one canvas to another. I know canvases also have high ink costs.
It's really insane on how people take Cv2 and what Tyleo and all the rest of the developers made and turn to crazy things like a 3D printer they can do in Blender. It's really insane. I personally don't do that because I specialize in game mechanics, and I don't know how they do it, honestly. It's a really cool thing, and it just shows like the level of creativity people have and what you can do with Cv2. And there's a lot more to come too. I'm really excited for the future of Cv2.
And also, just
Printers.
go about how we've kind of used C.
Hello, gamer. Among
What's changed?
the
Go through
CB,
that.
the CV2
So, me personally,
thing.
I started off building before
It's
I
the new
actually started
circuits.
messing around with CV2. And with my building career, I really wasn't getting anywhere. I
Oh,
really
Awesome Fox
couldn't do
isn't like
much
doing
with
a
it.
stream.
And then the Circuits V2 released, and I ended up going into a someone was doing a workshop that they were hosting for
Yeah, CV2. That's what I've been saying. I think I clicked the wrong one.
London with CV2 was a CV2 point light and a toggle button, and I created a little toggleable light.
Oh.
He died.
That's fine.
Like, there's an event.
Go
There's
ahead.
like an entire like.
You can go ahead and
Basically, my friends' friends.
I'll talk about how CV2 has
are,
changed for me. So, like I said earlier, I started in 2020, and CV1
No,
is
it's like.
great. You can do a ton of stuff with it, but
Yeah, there's
to me,
this
it wasn't
entire,
as intuitive as
These are the
CV2.
people who like work on
It's
games.
so nice to be able to
They
actually
make
see all of
the chips.
what
They make
each
the
chip
circuits.
does, how it interacts with stuff, and especially like compared to art. This is the arts festival. There
Yes,
are
it
a
is.
ton of absolutely
And they're just
beautiful
talking about.
rooms
There's a new
that
chip coming in
use
2 weeks.
CV2
It's the,
and really
I
add
forget
to the
what it's
user
called.
experience.
They
And
told us
that's
what it's
kind
called.
of how I've seen CV2 being used, is adding to the user experience, making
Okay.
making them feel more immersive. Personally, one of my maps, a community called Oasis Military, we use a ton of CV2 because it's easy to use. There's so many possibilities with it. One of my favorite things are cloud variables. When they were introduced not too long ago, it really changed the game for us, and I know it changed the game for a lot of creators. Prior to that, we were using the leaderboard, which was okay, but the cloud variables really changed a lot for us. So that's kind of my experience
so you
with
got
it.
out 2
I'm
hours
so
earlier.
grateful to be able to use CV2
Epic.
and the cloud variables and everything to help the user experience.
Yeah, and I've also realized that with CV2, it's made making games a lot easier for people.
What?
In the past, laid out as
shoot,
CV2
my
is, and then
microphone
CV2 has
should
all of
be.
this stuff on top of
I think
CV1
my
that
microphone
allows
is
you to
recording.
do
I
all
have
this
no
extra
idea.
stuff and make
I know
games
my
way better than they
party
used to be,
audio
to
is
where
not recording.
when CV2 wasn't released, you could make a simple puzzle game with
I
some
don't think I'm
basic
supposed
logic
to
and
be
stuff with
talking, bro.
CV1, but then once CV2 came out, people were starting to release full-fledged maps
Okay.
with super advanced AIs and all the super
Why did I
cool
say
things that
okay?
weren't
I
possible with
was just
CV1 that are
replying
now
and
possible with CV2.
texting.
It's really
But,
changed how Rec
because
Room maps are actually made now instead of all the CV1 maps before.
what? My brain just.
And that's if you've
My
noticed, some
I'm
of
not
us up
good at
here
explaining
have
things.
made a few of our maps that are really enhanced by CV2.
Apparently.
Like,
and like there's gonna be new art chips.
I know
Like there's gonna be animation
Jerry over
V2.
here. If you've ever played his game, Drifted Away, they
You
used
can't
a
join
lot of that
unless you
CV2
join
factors in there
the
to make
broadcasted
that
version. We're in that like actual
make
one
that
that you
a
can
lot
talk
better than it
through.
would be able to if you were using
But it's
CV1.
full right now.
And then there's people like Ventbot who use it to just make their games work
Yes,
well
I
and
think
have
so.
a fun user experience.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing what you can do with CV2, like I said
Yeah.
before.
Oh shoot! How do you join? Because it
Um,
won't let us invite anyone.
You can enhance your circuits a lot more. It's better to look at, in my opinion. When I first started in this
You
game,
can't really
I
jump
tried
around
to
that
make
much.
rooms with CV1. I taught
Because
myself
I think
a
they
little
would
bit of
get
CV1,
angry.
and it was confusing to me. And then I found out CV2 was a thing, so I started learning CV2, getting into CV2.
No, this is the actual
Then
original
I basically
server.
taught
Because
myself
we could
99%
leave and
of
talk
the
to
stuff I
them.
know. The 1% is just
Yeah,
I met a guy, he
we
knew
were
CV2,
like the first
I asked him
people
to
to
teach
join.
me, and I now know what I know.
Me and Mars.
Which is amazing,
Yeah.
and it's not that hard to get into.
Yeah.
I think CV2 is really confusing for new people, but it's mainly just learn how to know what the chips are. For example, you go to your maker pen, you can go to the more info on every chip, and they have a brief description of what the chip does. Or you can just read what the chip does on the not panel, but on the chip itself. It could briefly describe what the inputs and outputs do. And it's really easy to learn, and thank you
It is.
to
I'm
everyone
just.
who made that possible.
It is really
Yeah,
boring.
I've noticed that CV2
But
is
like
a lot
I'm
easier to learn than
broadcasting
CV1,
it
and I
because I want to be
personally,
cool.
I never took a class on
And
CV2.
people
I've
don't
never
like me.
actually had a proper someone come in and teach me how to use CV2. I just started working with it and I got
Yes.
into it and I started to get really good at it. So it's not really that difficult to get into, and I'm still not the greatest
Just
at
start
it. Some of the people up here, I'm actually jealous
Do
of
some
their
sort
skill
of
because
Fortnite dance.
I'm not that great with it, but I still can do stuff with it, and it's not super
Just like
hard
floss
to,
for like an
to
hour
learn.
straight.
It's a lot of. It sounds like it would be really difficult,
Like floss
but
until they
it's
like are
honestly
like,
not.
hey,
It's
there's someone
fairly
flossing in the
easy. And
audience.
it's actually kind of fun to learn because it's a whole new. It's a nice learning curve. It's
Yeah, I
something
saw
to
your
keep
arm
get
go a
your
little
brain going. It's
funky.
pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, a couple of you on this panel have mentioned that it is a little easier
I'm
to
gonna
learn
get
than
kicked.
Circuits V1. So for all
But,
you
like-
artists out there who are a little intimidated by the scripting system, maybe you've used Circuits V1 before and you find it confusing, I'd recommend giving Circuits V2 another try. You might be
Dabs.
able to get some more interaction in your rooms yourself without going too deep into the perils of the scripting system. There's also a number of classes. There's the Discord channel. There's plenty of ways to get help if you're trying to build something and having difficulty. So I'd recommend checking all those out.
And I've seen before, if you're if you've used CV2 or not CV2, CV1 in the past, and you want to transition over to CV2,
Transition
you can go
over.
to the Circuits version 2 class, and I know that they have classes that
LGPV?
will teach you how to transfer over from
PV?
CV1 to CV2. I really do recommend it
PV?
if you really do want to switch over,
GB?
because CV2 makes life so much
PV,
easier, and it's a
GB,
lot
sitting
nicer to
in a
use.
tree.
It's a lot simpler. It's a lot funner to use, I'd say, because
Yeah.
it's not got all
That
this
was the entire
little
plan.
random bits and stuff in it.
Yeah.
I like the
I'm
one
yeah,
thing I'll say about the
the
Rec Room community
potatoes person
is,
is Mars and my
there's
other friend Samuel's
everybody's
friend.
willing to help each other. So
And,
it's always
couple
nice
other
to be able
people
to find somebody that's
that like
willing
actually
to
make the
help you. We have a lot of people that make YouTube tutorials. Rec Room has a really good
Yeah.
tutorial system where they reward creators and teachers and stuff like that. So I will say that's really nice to have a
I
community
mean, we're
that's
only
willing to
really
help everybody.
staying here right now
And
because
speaking on that, here in front of me in my
because
instance here, I see the
potatoes
RCL man. Just since you're the one that I see, I'd like to thank you for actually doing all the tutorials that you've done and actually trying to help people learn
Anyway, I'm gonna ask my friend how
how
long
to use
this is gonna
Cv2.
be.
And then anyone else that I can't see that has done Cv2 tutorials, no matter how many views it's gotten, thank you for actually putting those out there
20
and
minutes ago.
letting the community know how easy it is to use Cv2. And with Cv2, when you actually do start to use it, you actually genuinely will realize how much it will help out your maps and how much that you can
I
actually
know,
put
it doesn't
into it
look
to
good.
actually change your things here. And then there's the then
It
there's
looks
like the
so
geniuses
silly,
and
buddy.
stuff that will create full-fledged games like there's the Uno games.
She said she doesn't know. She doesn't know how
There's
long it's gonna
there's
take.
people who there's a few other ones I can't remember the names of. But there are a lot of people who have created some really interesting, really advanced stuff with CV2 that just wouldn't be possible with CV1. And that's what's the best part about it is you can do so many crazy things with it that it's just there's no point in not using it.
Yeah, if you want to check out a really cool room made with CV2, over in the art gallery, there's a door that leads to orbitals made by
Emo
Forbo.
monkey Junior.
That's a pretty cool one that we know uses CV2.
My friend is
I
like
recommend checking
pointing
that
in my
out and checking
face
the
right
gallery
now.
out in general if you haven't headed over there yet. Do any of you on the panel know of any other cool rooms?
She just turned around and stopped.
I have a few. I know for sure mine. My map, just gotta plug it just a little bit. It wasn't super advanced CV2, but for my contest map, it's definitely helps with that experience. It lets you kind of view the maps a little better. And actually, a funny thing about that, people tried to disqualify us for that one, but we ended up it was a way to view the maps instead of
Slashy dance.
just kind of in a gamer activity category.
What's the name of the map?
I think I know.
The name of the map is Beasts of Legend. I recommend if you haven't checked it out already, you should.
Legends of Legends.
And for anyone who did check it out during the play phase of the contest, thank you for that, because your engagement got me a beautiful outfit for that one. Sadly, the judges didn't rate me top 5, but it is pretty good for my first contest getting a top 10. So I thank everyone who's gone in and checked that out. I'd like to thank you for that.
I'm gonna leave this.
One that I want to bring up that is genuinely the best room I've ever seen in Rec Room, and it has a lot to do with circuits.
I don't like
Space
this.
Survivor.
I don't.
This dude worked on it, and holy crap, it's amazing. It's got like full survival system, more or less tower defense and survival, but still, it's amazing. That's all I have to say about that.
That is a cool room.
Bro, you do.
Well, from everything you hear,
Oh, he's gone again.
anyways, let me just continue. From everything you heard here, there's a lot of really cool things you can make with CV2, and it should really bring inspiration for everyone here to learn CV2. And it's really fun, really easy. There's a ton of different tutorials that you can learn on YouTube. There's a ton of different people that would teach you CV2. There's in the Discord, if you're in the Rec Room Discord, there's a circuits channel called CV2 Help. You can make a thing there, a sub form, whatever it is, and you can basically ask anyone in the circuits chat saying, "Hey,
dude,
I have a problem.
So many Minecraft
How do
live
I do
streams,
this?"
and they were
And
so
people
fun
will always
and
help you.
silly and goofy.
It's really nice. Everyone really nice there.
You got me into
and
saying
it's
like
a really
fun,
good
silly,
community.
and
I'm really happy
goofy.
to be a part of it.
I know.
Looks
I
like
call
Potatoes
people
is
a
having
big
some
goof or a big
technical
doof.
difficulties. And so is
Goofy face.
my name is Name. Not sure what's going on.
Oh, man.
But
Panelists are dropping like flies. Who's going to be next?
Uh-oh.
Hopefully survive.
Arthur Fox called his brother Dominoes.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
should
we gotta.
You wanted to say something
answer
about
some
printers
questions?
earlier, Telio, dude.
Not
Yeah.
yet, no.
I'm going to go on about printers, and then
He's
with the other
4
panelists gone,
Okay, he's
we'll
3
motion
hours
into a little
behind
bit
me
of
and
a
2
Q&A.
hours behind you.
While this is happening, I'm going to try to get them back in, so I might need to pause a little bit to do some stuff on the
I didn't even need to
in the
be forced in. I'm awesome.
What?
looks like they made it back, actually.
What?
Anyways, I'm gonna
I'll be
go on
on
about the
rec
printers.
net
So we were
because
looking
I
at
won't
improvements you
be
can make
on
to the canvas.
Sunday.
We were looking specifically, and again, this will be much further out. We're thinking about adding chips
Sub.
to draw lines or set individual points. I know right now for anybody making a canvas printer, they'll tend to use a bunch of pistons, rotators, gizmos to try to get things to move around the way they want. We think this could be done much more easily if you could just set the colors you want in the spot you want and have it be done. So we'll be looking into that. No promises. Again, this would be farther out than Animator. But don't be surprised if you see another one of those design docs up here about the canvas. All right, I'm gonna.
My
try
IRL
potatoes.
friend.
Can we take a question from the audience, actually?
Yeah. If you have any questions about
I'm
CV2
gonna ask,
or
do you
CV2
play
stuff,
Among
make
Us?
sure you type it in chat so we can answer it.
I am reading the chat.
Where can I learn about quaternions? Where can I learn about quaternions? That is a great question. I think there's a few places I would go to get more information. About quaternions in general, you can look around on the internet. I know Wikipedia has an article, but it's quite complicated. You might be able to find a few other resources that are clearer. You could also try to join a circuits think tank or one of the circuits classes and see if you can get more information from a teacher. I also know that many folks in the Circuits V2 Discord have helped out with quaternions quite a bit. I would ask around in there to see if you could get some more direct help. Can one of you take questions while I try to get potatoes back in?
Mr. Orange, is there going to be an Animator V2? We already went over some of the design for that. That will be a thing in the not super distant future, but also
roughly 3.5 months out.
Oh, right there, really?
Yeah, that.
Somebody says my friend has their hand up.
Do you know
Sorry,
what
we
time?
can't see you because we're broadcasting through multiple instances. So your best.
It's 2:33, so 4 for me or
Someone
4
asked
for you.
is circuits easy to use? It really depends on what you're doing. In general, if you're just starting, it might be a little difficult. But once you slowly learn the chips, it'll be more and more fluent and easily like speaking another language.
That's a really good way to put it.
Right.
And another person said, what is the use of CV2? How to understand circuits. The use is pretty much, making stuff run in the background. Like if you're making a game in like Unity or Unreal Engine, you'd code. That's basically what CV2 is. You code the game to work.
Nothing
and run,
interesting is happening.
And how, let's say you want to make a ball move, you use circuits to make that ball move.